Everyone, this is Kevin Richards here from Rock the Stage NYC on YouTube and RPMVocalStudio.com on the web for voice lessons worldwide. Don't forget to check out the description below to get both my vocal courses for just $50. That's half off the normal price for being a cool person and watching this video on YouTube. There's also playlists down there and links to get to take lessons with me, Skype like this, or in studio here in New York City. So check out the links below. Don't forget to share video, subscribe, check out, please comment, write, ask me questions, all that stuff. I'm more than happy to answer them for you. So let's get to this lesson. Now, I was asked about training vowels when doing exercises. Should they always stick with the same vowel? Should they switch it up? Should they do all sorts of different vowels? I do advocate switching your vowels around. But start with a sort of semi-closed vowel sound. Starting with a bright open sound like ah. Now ah, yes, it does grow the voice, but it is also very hard to control if you're a beginner because it's so wide and so open. There's not a lot of, you don't have a lot of grip, so to speak, on the note because it's so wide, so open, so bright. So you want something that's not totally dark like ooh or something that's somewhere in the middle, and for me that's the vowel sound of aw, as in the word law or draw. Because it's, for me, I call this a hybrid sound. Aw is kind of a combination of ah and It's where they kind of meet in the middle. And you can tilt the sound of aw towards a brighter ah sound, or you can tilt it back more towards a darkened sound if you want to get a little bit more grip on the note. And for me, that's a good beginner's vowel sound. You do want to tend towards more, sticking more towards some more closed vowel sounds like oo or and a, because they're back here, and you get this sort of sensation if you have a bit more of a grip on the note. There's a bit more there of a sound to kind of grab onto. A sound like ah or I is very open, it's very forgiving. There's a lot of play in there, a lot of slack, where you can go wrong, the voice can sort of fall apart or become unbalanced, and you can put a lot of volume on those, on like ah and I, and make it sound very shouty. Now, E is something you want to do when you've got some more of a handle of kind of how to keep your voice in balance, because E is so closed. It's very easy to pinch that one. You want to be really good at sort of navigating your unbalanced points in your voice first before you start adding an E on top of that. So the E is probably the last one I do with the students. So here's a good example of just a basic exercise using an aw. Just a 4-note arpeggio like this. Aw. Now, as you go up, if it becomes too heavy, start leaning the aw towards ah. Ah. Not totally turn it, don't turn it into or modify it into an ah. We don't want ah. You don't want to do that. That's cheating. We want to keep it as close to the aw as we can, but sort of just lean it a little forward towards an ah sound. If you feel that's too unstable, then lean it back a little bit towards the ah. You'll get a bit more of a classical sound, but it's good for getting a good grip on the sound all the way through. So I'm going to take you through here. Ah, 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 ah. Now doing F here, F3 to F4. I'm going to start to want to add in a bit more of a bright sound. So I'm going to lean it more towards the ah to take some of the weight off of the aw. Open the sound a little bit to add a little bit more upper end edge to the sound. This helps me navigate the transition from the sort of lower part of my range to the upper part of my range without becoming too unbalanced, too heavy, or too spread. I just want to keep it sort of semi in the middle here, but lean a little bit towards the ah. Ah, ah, ah. Diaphragm down once, leave it down for the whole exercise. From here down, think down. Ah, 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 ah. More spread towards the ah. Oh, 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 oh. And there's your F4 to F5. Full voice. Now I'm going to do it down. I'm not going to stop. And you'll hear how the notes blend, because I'm not trying to change anything. I'm keeping the same configuration or the same coordination maneuver that I did to the F. I'm not thinking I have to switch doing something. I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to lighten the load, brighten the sound a little bit as I go up. Now I'm going to take this F4 to F5 and I'm going to bring it down, and you'll see how this nicely blends. Back down to the G there. Didn't quite make it all the way to the F. But that's a lot of notes to be singing non-stop in one configuration. But there you go. And that's how easily we can start to blend your voices from your lower range into your upper range, or your lower resonances to your upper resonance. We don't need to switch any kind of mechanism or configuration. If it works here, it'll work here. You just have to let the voice thin out, let it brighten, but don't think you have to like do any sort of weird maneuver or switching or changing something somewhere in midway in that process. You don't have to. We're going to balance the voice out in the lower notes where it's where it's just easier to do. Double me. Okay, so my bad English, even haven't, I spoke it my whole life. Okay, so so there, it's just basically if it works here, it'll work here. The same coordination. We're just going to change the tone a little bit to lighten the load and add a little brightness to help the sound, the resonance in terms of maneuver up more towards the front and roof of the mouth. To get it out of the throat and move it up forward towards the front of the face, or the mask, as they like to say. So there's my pure advice for what vowels to use to help you sort of balance the voice out or navigate the break passaggio area, the unbalanced points, and kind of how you can kind of tweak it to your liking to make it work for you. Don't get stuck in just doing it one way because somebody told you. Experiment, tweak a little bit to see which way works best for you, and use that. Till next time, this is Kevin Richards. Keep rocking, keep practicing. See ya.